Today's Wednesday edition of the Daily Fantasy Basketball Podcast is brought to you by No Halftime. No Halftime is an iTunes app that allows you to compete in player versus player daily fantasy sports contest. Use the promo code BBALL for a free $25. That's BBALL for a free $25. That's No Halftime, where the fantasy sports season never takes a break. And with that, we are off. It is the Wednesday edition, it is the hump day edition of our show. I am Daniel Green. I am joined as always by my best friend, Mark Roberts. How are you, Mark?
Oh, very good. Even better now. We just found out I have a best friend.
I mean, you just found that out right now? Come on.
I didn't know for sure. I had my fingers crossed.
Like,
I journaled about it in hopes that it would happen, but it's official.
I gotta be, in all seriousness, top 5. There's no question in my mind. Because you're married, remember, you're married with 2 kids, 2.5 kids. You got a dog. You have no time for friends.
No. I'm saying the other way. I didn't realize that you considered me your best friend.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, even before I was on the show with you, I would just dream about you. I was like, one day, if I will be best friends with Mark Roberts.
Maybe someday we'll actually meet in person.
That would be phenomenal. In all seriousness, like, what are the odds that we actually meet in person? Like
probably
5%.
Not great.
Yeah, probably 5%.
No, yeah, I wouldn't even say 1 in, 500. I would say.
Geez, that low?
I mean, if I'm ever in New York, I probably make sure I at least let you know I'm coming. But
I would hope so. Yeah,
you're never going to go to Idaho.
No.
So
is there like a tourist spot in Idaho? Is there a reason to go besides
there is I think Sun Valley is probably a pretty well-known ski resort. Like that. I think there's a lot of famous people who vacation there. I think, for example, Bruce Willis is famous for vacationing there.
Oh, very nice. I like Bruce Willis.
It's not it's not as popular probably as Sundance in Utah, but I think it's sort of the same. I mean, it doesn't have a movie festival, but it's sort of the same idea.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I wish you were still in Utah. Then I would come visit you. I've heard like there's some like that Sundance is awesome.
Yeah, no, it's a lot of fun.
So, real quickly, I just want to let the viewers know Friday's coming up in a couple days, right? I guess Friday always comes up in a couple days from Wednesday. Our Friday show, Dan's Wheel of Nonsense on Friday, where we get to talk a non-basketball topic. I have not figured out my 5 topics that I will.
So my wife had a suggestion for your Wheel of Nonsense.
Oh, what was her suggestion?
She said by the time you got done telling all the ideas for the Wheel of Nonsense that she couldn't remember what the first ones were. So she said you need to have like 2. That she
only 2 options on the wheel. Then it wouldn't be a wheel.
Or you could have 3. You could have 3. I would say no more than 3, and then you could post it as a Twitter poll.
That's what I was gonna. No. I mean, great minds think alike. That's what I was gonna say. Instead, what I'm gonna do this time, I'm just gonna tweet out the options for the Wheel of Nonsense, and whichever one gets the most votes, that's the story that we'll discuss on Friday.
Fair enough.
How's that sound?
Yeah, it sounds good.
All right, so that's coming up on Friday's show. Let's get into some basketball stuff. There are tons of.
Hey, can I do a plug first? Is that okay?
I suppose, Mark. Just so we're best friends.
Perfect. Already coming in to my advantage there. So my brother, my older brother, didn't show up for our draft this year and left the auction with $100 on the table, which is no fun. Right? Have you ever done that?
Never in an auction draft, but there is. I've missed 2 drafts in my life, both because of work, where there was no, and nothing I could do, like completely, like I'm stuck in a meeting with a boss and I'm just enraged. But yeah, I've missed 2 of my life. 1 basketball and one NFL one.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens to the best of us. So he missed, and then you've seen the people who come away with the auction and their team does pretty good, and then teams that come away really poorly, right?
Yeah. Yep.
This is basically what happened to him. And so he tried his best. He tried to recover his team. It didn't happen. His team's not doing as well as he would like. So he decided to start, and I've never tried this before. He decided to start a new league mid-season. Maybe our listeners have done this. Maybe you've done this, Daniel. Have you ever done this?
I've never done this, but it's a cool idea.
So he's basically says, I'm done with my other team. I think he'll hopefully still manage it, but he wants to start a new league. And not as you would expect, not everybody else in our league wants to do that, right? There's some teams that are doing well that they don't want to start over. So he started a new league, and he asked me to use the podcast to see if anybody else would be interested in joining his league. So here's what I want you to do. If you're interested in joining a league mid-season, if you want to give it a try, I'm going to play. I think Dan's going to play.
I will play as well. I'm playing for sure.
My brother's going to be there. So if you're interested, email the show. We have an email address on the website, or you can tweet at us. But the email address is DFBP, so Daily Fantasy Basketball Podcast, but just the initials, DFBP or DFBPOD, so DFBpod@gmail.com. That was
that's a mouthful, right?
It's only like 6 letters.
Whew.
So DFBpod@gmail.com. And you can explain to us why you deserve a second chance. The best responses. It's only a 10-team league.
Wow, so there's only 7 spots left after me.
And my father is playing in this league.
Whoa!
Yeah,
I'm destroying the entire Roberts family. This is going to be awesome.
Yeah, so there's only going to be about 5. I think Tyler's probably going to be in there.
Boy, Tyler, there's 5 coveted spots for this league.
There's only a few spots left, but here's how I'm going to give preference. Whoever has the best story of why they deserve a second chance will get in. So
wait, like a second chance in life, or like
no, second chance for your fantasy team. I don't want to hear any second chance for life stories.
I want to hear second chance in life. If you guys want to tweet me second chance in life stories, that's more interesting.
That could get dark though. Like I don't want to hear some, read sad details of people's lives.
I mean, hey, Mark, life is sad. We have to deal with reality.
Yeah, I prefer the happy parts. Anyway, let us know if you can tweet it in just a few characters. Let me know, or you can send an email in. We'll get everybody signed up and get that underway. It will be an auction draft. So anyway.
Mark, are we trying to start this by? I mean, like we should try to start this pretty soon. Are we trying to start this by Monday? By next week?
Yeah, I wonder if probably. I think best case scenario, the draft happens this weekend. So
the
last weekend of January.
Right.
It'll be head to head. It's just a standard 8 category league. I think that's about it. So if you can't do the draft on this weekend, Saturday or Sunday, probably don't apply. Although if we get so many applicants, maybe we'll start a second.
We could do another one. Yeah.
So let us know if you're interested in that. If your team has sucked so badly to this point that you really want another chance.
Yeah. Because Mark, I'm not going to lie. I have a, as I was explaining to you pre-show, I have a team like that with frickin' Bradley Beal and Kyrie Irving, which have decimated me.
That's a very good transition into tonight's news.
It is, my friend. It sure is.
Well, but first, that's a professional transition by you.
I mean, let me tell you something. If there's one thing that I am, it's professional, right? If there's one word to describe me so far since we've had this burgeoning relationship, wouldn't it be that I am professional?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think everybody knows that you do the show in a suit and tie, but you do.
I mean, like you've actually seen a picture, a real life photo of me, so I really do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I sleep in a suit and tie. It's crazy. So let's get to the news. Before we get to some of those guys that I mentioned, dear God, Bradley Beal and Irving, and we're going to hopefully on the show get to the box score, some fascinating games tonight. We got to talk about the Blake Griffin story.
Yes.
Like, this was crazy. I mean, like I've never heard of, you always hear of fights in the NBA, but it's Blake Griffin, and I don't think this is allegedly anymore. This is now it's fact.
Doc Rivers addressed it.
And the Clippers had released a statement. So Blake Griffin was out to eat with his friend, happens to be the assistant equipment manager for the Clippers. They got into an argument. I guess they exchanged insults. Blake Griffin hit the guy. The assistant equipment manager went outside. Blake Griffin followed him outside and punched him again. And Blake Griffin has now broken his hand and is out 4 to 6 weeks, which Doc Rivers said isn't even realistic, so it could be longer than that. It's just a crazy story, man. Like, you always hear of fights in the NBA, but never with and basically an equipment manager is like a subordinate. So it's
and like you said, his personal friend, right? Like they've been on vacation before together.
Yeah, right. So I mean, like, give me your thoughts, man. I just this story fascinates me, man. It's crazy.
It really is. I mean, they first it was so funny because the story that originally came out was that he'd injured his hand in a team-related activity,
Right.
which makes you feel like he was working out or like they were practicing. And then everybody started to go like, okay, well, what's a team-related activity? What are we talking about here? And it didn't take very long before we figured out that he punched the equipment manager apparently so hard that he broke his hand.
Yep.
Which I guess isn't that uncommon. I don't know. I've never been in like a fist fight, but it's sort of surprising that he busted his hand. Anyway, the only thing I have to say is I remember, was it Jalen Rose or Bill Simmons or somebody says the only reason NBA players fight, or 99% of the time NBA players fight, is because of card game, gambling, or because of women.
Yep.
So using that, my inductive reasoning there, I would assume that was part of the reason why. I guess it doesn't really matter why, because the truth is, it seems like he's out likely 6 weeks, which will push him right near the right up to the fantasy playoffs. Really, the good news is that it's his hand and not a leg injury, and so he should be able to be in shape and ready to play once he gets back. So you won't have to worry about, like if it was a foot, right? He'd have to heal for 6 weeks, and then he'd have a month of getting into shape. With a hand injury, he should be able to be in shape. So I don't think, if you have an injured spot, you definitely put him there, or you keep him there. If you're in good shape to make the playoffs, I think you hold on to him. He's just simply too good to drop. But I think the teams that are in an interesting situation now are the teams without an injured reserve spot.
Right. Yep.
Daily moves league, and you're on the brink, like you're in 5th place right now, or you're in 7th place right now, and you've got to make sure you're in the top 6 to make the playoffs. Like, what do you do with Blake Griffin?
You got to drop him. You can't trade
him to like one of the top 2 teams in your league. I think that's the move.
Yeah. I mean, you can try to trade, but
and just go to him and say, look, you're going to make the playoffs. And when you get to the playoffs, you're going to be really happy you had Blake Griffin.
But those guys know that you have almost no leverage, though, for the most part. Yeah. I mean, for the most part, especially if they're in first or second place, they're probably pretty savvy fantasy players. Yeah. It's going to be hard to make a deal. So, yeah, try to make a deal.
You're hoping for I don't know. I don't even know who a good example is, but you're not going to get value for him. But you're hoping for like
that. I mean, that's why I'm
probably an Otto Porter type player, like a top 100 player, but just barely.
I mean, like, that's why I'm almost tempted to just use that, just get rid of him and dump him and see if you can find gold on the waiver wire, or just keep streaming someone. Use that spot as a streaming option, because I'm not sure you're going to get.
It's tough to hit drop on Blake Griffin though.
Dude, it's tough, but look, I mean, like, he's not going to be back. He's already been out a month. All right, so you've been sitting on it for a month, and now he's going to be out, till the probably middle of March. Like, you just can't, if you're battling for a playoff spot, you can't just afford to waste all that time and we get zeros across the board. Like, you need points.
I agree. I hate. Yeah.
No, it's hard. It's hard.
I'd have to try to trade him.
No, this is Mark. This is what I do in scenarios like this. In my office, I call a friend over and I say, look, I need you to hit submit on this button right here and drop this player. I can't do it. I leave the office. My friend comes in the office. He does it. He drops Blake Griffin. We move on.
Wow.
It's painful. It's painful.
Would you do that for our listeners? Like, if our listeners came to you, would you?
If we have any listeners in the New York area, if you need some help in dropping Blake Griffin, you let me know. I will come over to your office, your house, wherever you live, and I will hit that submit button. And
what if they just what if they just send you their Yahoo password?
Oh,
that's like for their temporary Yahoo password.
That's actually that's much easier, much more efficient. I like that. I like that idea better. Yes. I don't want to. Yeah, that's good. Maybe one person, if you're lucky, like we have a contest, and then I would actually come over and meet you, and I would hit submit. But yeah, for the most part, you give me your password.
Wow, have a contest to get to meet Dan.
That would be pretty impressive. We'd have a good time. But look, Mark,
how lucky would they be that person that won the contest that they get to meet you?
God, this is where I'm praying that we have female listeners, but I know we have a couple. But I wish we had more.
Shout out to Rebecca.
Rebecca, what's going on? Gave me some beautiful dating advice. So yeah. Should we move on though from Blake?
Yeah, move on. Let's move on.
So this happened late tonight.
There's not really a lot of analysis on that one because he's been like, besides for Blake, which we just gave, like we've seen what the Clippers look like without him for 6 weeks or 4 weeks or however long he's been out. So it's not like they're going to have a change in their rotation.
No, the funny thing that now I wonder if there's any part of Doc Rivers that says, "Dang, I could really use Josh Smith now."
No, because he wasn't playing him when Blake was out.
I know, but as he thought Blake was going to be back though.
If he was rational, he might think that. But
I mean, yeah, have fun with Mbah Mute. Even though the Clippers keep winning, I think they won like 13-2 without Blake. So yeah, I mean, if you have DeAndre Jordan, you have JJ Redick and Chris Paul, you probably let out a yippee scream or something like that, because those are the guys who are going to be the main beneficiaries. But yeah, not much other analysis because he's been out for so long. So it is. We're taping the show on what is it? Tuesday night. So
Tuesday night.
Yeah. So Kyle Lowry left Toronto's game. Had a great game tonight against. I don't even know who they played. Was it Washington? Who they were playing?
Toronto played Washington, beat up on Washington pretty well.
Yeah. Lowry did really well, but a scary thing. He left the game, went to the locker room. He was holding his left wrist. They're gonna so people were very nervous. But now I'm seeing some reports via Twitter. Not sure how factual it is, that it looks like it's only going to be a sprain, and they're not overly concerned. But Kyle Lowry still is going to get X-rays on that left wrist. He's probably considered day to day. So if you own Kyle Lowry, you can probably take a deep breath. It looks like things are going to be okay, but just wait for those X-ray results because you never know. If he went down, Mark, wow, I mean that would be such a loss for Toronto.
Yeah, it really would. He did say after the game that his wrist was fine. We know that we can't trust players, but
right.
So take that for what it's worth, but it's at least something.
Yep, agree. Moving on, other news tonight: Zaza Pachulia, the fourth leading vote getter for your Western Conference All-Stars, and
on my All-Star team.
That's right. And now it's funny because whenever I watch Manu Ginobili, all I think of Mark's All-Star. I just think that's all I think of.
That's so great.
And now I'm rooting extra hard for Manu because I think he should be an All-Star.
Oh, wow. I thought you were going to go the other way and be like, I keep rooting for him to do bad to prove
No. I root for him. Except yesterday was not a good day for him against Golden State. But
he didn't make a lot of shots, but he had 8 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists in 18 minutes.
No, and the thing that surprised me the most about Ginobili, he still looked as quick as when he was like 24.
I think he looks better than he's looked in the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, he looks super fat. I mean, I was blown away. Even though San Antonio got blown out, everyone's talking about that. I thought, Steph went nuts, went bonkers. They didn't have Duncan, and Aldridge was the only player that looked just completely out of place on the court. I thought
he really did.
He looked like he didn't belong. It was really bizarre. I'm not sure how much of that was Duncan being out or just the speed that Golden State was playing, or like Draymond Green was just abusing him. But other than that, man, I thought San Antonio is going to match up pretty well with Golden State. They play a pretty similar style. I mean, if Steph goes off like that, there's not much that any team can do.
That's what was weird, and I thought, I don't know if Pop was just trying stuff, because yesterday, you're right, they did play a very similar style, and that's not usually what the Spurs do. You know what I mean? I wonder if they were trying to see if they can match the Warriors, because they usually play a much slower style. Like they had the 2 big guys in there, and yesterday they were up and down the court. They were trying to push the ball. But I just don't know. And they were trying funky things. Like they tried Kawhi Leonard. They tried to have him guard Steph Curry for some time, and then they tried to have him to guard Draymond Green. I don't know if it was a big science experiment for Greg Popovich to basically say, let's figure out what works and what doesn't work against the Warriors, and I don't care what the results look like.
Yeah, I think there was some of that. I think there was also a lot of, Simmons got a lot of run. Danny Green again got pulled early in the third quarter. That guy's got mad athletic ability. So I think Pop was trying to see which guys from his team can match up against Golden State and actually play in the playoff series against that team. So to see what matchups he went and lineups he went with was pretty interesting yesterday. I thought David West looked really good for San Antonio. So ultimately, I think that's still going to could be a really good series down the road when they do meet. Hopefully,
Yeah. I'm not worried about that.
Yeah.
Hey, back to Manu for just a second, since you brought him up. Do you want to
Yeah.
know what his per 36-minute numbers are this season?
Go ahead. Where are they?
18 points, 5.5 rebounds, 6.5 assists, 2 steals, 2 3-pointers, and a half a block per game.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty good, huh?
Yeah, no, he's been great. Like, it's not surprising given the fact that if obviously if your numbers that you used said he should be an all-star. I mean, you knew that those per 36 numbers are going to have to be pretty fantastic. I mean, the problem is, like, fantasy-wise, he's just never going to get enough minutes, right? I mean, he's going to see – if he sees 20 minutes, like I do a jumping jack, like on my couch.
Well, I mean, that is his average this season.
Right.
He's averaging 20 – but even in 20 minutes, so he's averaging 10 points, 3 rebounds, 3.5 assists, 1 steal, 1 3-pointer. There's not a lot of upside there just because the minutes are low.
Right.
And I don't think that you can stream him in because there are going to be games where he's low on minutes.
That's the problem. Well,
I think, but if you can just stick him in your lineup, I think it's okay.
But not only low on minutes, there's games he's just going to miss because Pop's going to rest him.
Yep.
Like, that's also the other killer, right?
Yep.
So it's just going to be on a random Wednesday or a random Thursday when you need you need him to get you some points. Pop's going to be like, nope, Manu's out because he's old.
Yeah, so it's a weird situation where, like, he probably finished this season as a top 100 player, and yet I probably wouldn't recommend owning him in a league that has 120 players or 130 players.
Yeah.
Just because it's hard to actually capture that value on your team.
Yeah, agree.
All right.
So, I mean, do you want to talk anything about Zaza? He missed with the Achilles. He missed a second straight game. But he's considered day-to-day, and they don't think it's going to be too much of an issue. I just always get a little worried when I see an Achilles. It's something you don't want to mess with. Zaza's no spring chicken. I think he's like 32. So
that's young for the Mavericks.
That is true. I mean, I guess Dirk wishes he was 32. But
oh man, I wish Dirk was 32.
I mean,
that'd be awesome.
I'm telling you, like, Dirk is still so solid too. He could play another like 4 or 5 years. I mean, it's interesting to see like how badly some guys have aged, like Kobe, which is he's a train wreck right now, versus guys like Dirk who are still doing well. D Wade, even though D Wade takes a lot of heat, like he just put in in a back-to-back tonight, scored 28 points, had 8 assists, looked really good against Brooklyn. He's actually aging pretty well, I think. So I mean, like, Dirk's one of those guys. I think he's got another 3-4 years in him, quite honestly. Duncan another one. So, but
with Zaza, yeah, like Achilles, sometimes like a minor Achilles injury can be 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So are you streaming their backup with Zaza out?
I'm not, but like this guy intrigues me, and I can't. What's his name? You want to pronounce it for me?
We're both dancing around his name.
Dazri? Dazri?
Is it Salah?
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
You just said the last name. How did you say it?
I think
Mejri. I think it's Mejri. Salah Mejri.
Now, hold on. Now my computer's frozen. I can't get to the box score because I remember it's basically it's Salah Mejri.
Yeah, Mejri.
It's pronounced how it's spelled phonetically.
I don't know if that could be wrong.
That's right.
Anyway.
No, Salah Mejri. So
he's only played in a couple of games. He has a 17-9. He has a 10-10. He's blocked a bunch of shots. I don't mind streaming him if you need a big guy.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't yet, but like I was tempted to today in one league where I needed some rebounds. Because if you think about it, who's Dallas? I mean, Dallas's backup bigs. You got JaVale McGee. Dear God, I don't even know. Like, I think there's a rule like he only can play as many minutes as his IQ, so he can't get more than like 8 minutes a game. Then you have Charlie Villanueva, Charlie Villanueva, another tough name, who's like he's been in the league forever. Dwight Powell. This is interesting though. Dwight Powell earlier in the year was really good. What happened there?
I mean, he was on a lot of people's sleeper lists.
I was playing like he was making me bank in DFS. I mean, like just every night he'd come out of nowhere and play like 26 minutes, like and put up a nice line. Now he doesn't play. Like I don't know what the heck happened there.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's going on there.
But so yeah, I mean, Salah's not it's not a bad option. Dallas doesn't have a ton of other backups, and certainly it seems that right now Carlisle doesn't want to play those other guys. a lot of minutes. So Salah is getting a nice run right now. So I don't have a big issue with him. But hopefully Zaza will be back. Moving on. This is the next player I want to discuss. This may be a player I might need someone to come in and hit the submit button.
Here's an interesting thing, and so I think I'm spoiling our segment later on, our no halftime segment.
Yeah.
But you know how the internet loves Boban?
Yes.
Spurs?
Yes.
So we know that Salah, I'm just going to call him Salah, right? We know that he's going to probably put up some pretty good numbers as long as Zaza is out. This is a really who's who of NBA names. Like I don't think there's 3 better names in the NBA than those 3 guys. But anyway, like what I don't know how many, like probably you can expect, I don't know, 10 points and 8 rebounds out of Salah Mejri.
Yeah.
Couldn't you just get a bunch of people on like hey, you take Boban, like he has a funny name, he plays for the Spurs, he does funny things. I'll take Salah Mejri. He does, he has a funny name. And when you know that Salah is actually going to destroy Boban, and I bet a lot of people would take Boban just because it seems like a funny challenge.
I mean, that's a tough one. I mean, like, maybe, but I'm like, I think a lot of people would look at that and be like, that can't be a real player. I don't know who that is. I'm just going to move on,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think anybody realizes the production that he's putting up in Dallas.
But I don't think people really know who Boban is. They'd be like, I don't know.
No, everyone knows who Boban is. Are you kidding me?
I mean,
he's like the internet's favorite player.
Well, I guess that is true. Also, if you're doing no halftime, then you're big in DFS, and yeah, you would know.
When I so when I put out that Twitter question a while ago, and we actually did this in our show, like who would you put as your 5 best players for the rest of the year, or for the next 5 years?
Yeah,
I got a couple of responses that were Boban at all 5 positions. Like people love that guy.
Yeah, no, he is lovable. So. Yeah, no, I mean that would be actually a pretty good no halftime.
I feel like he could take advantage of the lovability of Boban.
I mean, my only worry is if you do that, and then like that's a game where Popovich decides, to rest everyone, and Boban, gets a ton of minutes.
Sure.
But yeah, no, I think that's.
But yeah, you did that challenge 99 or 100 times. You're winning that 99 times.
I'm with you, man. I'm gonna go on no halftime and make a challenge for Salah. Right. If it's a game, dude, if it's a game he's starting. You could do Salah versus a lot of players, man. You could do like I'm trying to think like Salah versus Brandon Bass, Salah versus Dion, even like Dion Waiters. You could do. Although Dion Waiters started tonight.
What about Willie Cauley-Stein? I feel like
he's actually no, because he's starting right now and actually putting up some decent lines. But like earlier,
I got a good one. I got a good one for you.
That
I would take Salah, Mejri, and I would give you Aaron Gordon.
It's funny.
Your best friend, Aaron Gordon.
It's funny because they actually put up pretty similar stat lines, quite honestly.
I know.
You know what? I would still take Aaron Gordon, but I would be sweating that whole night. That would be close. I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah. Now, one condition, it has to not like. Can't be Zaza returns, and then I'm stuck with.
No. A game where we know Salah's going to start, and then I'll take Aaron Gordon. Who I'll say we should mention this. Aaron Gordon tonight started, and the most important thing for me tonight, 37 minutes.
Yeah, why don't you tell everybody how he did in those 37 minutes?
Let's move on to. No, I mean, look, he didn't do great. So he only got 9 points. He was 3 for 9 from the floor. Hit a 3-pointer, which was nice. 9 rebounds. Okay, 3 assists. That's pretty good for a big man.
The fact that you're surprised about the 3-pointer and the 3 assists, I think confirms my analysis here.
A steal. I'm telling you, Aaron Gordon. Look, I mean, Aaron Gordon's not going to be, Archie Goodwin if Brandon Knight's out for the rest of the year. But Aaron Gordon's could be a solid contributor for your team, I think. I think he still has some upside. I'm not giving up hope yet. And 37, he played the most minutes out of anyone for Orlando tonight. So it's promising.
I don't think he's above replacement level in any category except maybe rebounds.
Yeah, again, it's not a guy I'm jumping for joy, but a guy who I think if you're he's a borderline player to own in a standard 12-team league. So next guy I want to talk about, though, Mark, is a player who is just he's probably been the most frustrating guy that I have on any of my teams, and that's Bradley Beal. So Beal got a concussion. Got a concussion early in the game yesterday.
Broken nose as well, right? I mean, I misread that.
Oh, my bad. Maybe it wasn't. You know what? Maybe what? Yeah, I think it was just a broken nose. Was it a concussion too? God only knows. Yeah, you're right. It was a broken nose. I think they tested him for a concussion as well.
I see. I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, I might actually be making things up for that guy now. But either way, he didn't play tonight, did he? He did not play tonight. He has been a disaster. There's no other way to say it. Like, he makes Blake Griffin look like a Girl Scout in terms of fantasy production this year. Like, what do you do with this guy? Like, even if he comes back from this broken nose / concussion, whatever the hell he's going to come back, let's say later this week, because I don't think he's expected to miss too much time because of this. He's still on the minute restrictions. He's not even starting. Like, he's playing like 24 minutes a game. Like, Washington, what, they're 20-23 right now. They're like the 10th or 11th spot in the East. Like, what do you do with this guy, Mark? Do I cut him loose?
So let's go back to let me back up. Let's start with Bradley Beal, and then I'll get into what to do with him. I've always been lukewarm on Bradley Beal just because I don't feel like there's a lot of upside with him. Like, I know that's weird to say because he's a young player. Like, he's only 22 still. He's had some great playoff performances. But when you get down to his fantasy value, he's never really put up good fantasy numbers. Like, even if we look at his per 36 numbers this year, he's averaging 19 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 2 3-pointers. There's not a lot to love there. Like, he's not even getting 20 points per 36 minutes. He's not even getting you barely getting 3 assists per 36 minutes. He's not getting a lot of rebounds. The steals aren't very high. So when you start talking about Bradley Beal going forward as a 29, 28-minute player, I think you're talking about like 16 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, maybe a steal, and 1.5 3-pointers. And if that stat line was attached to any other player's name, I feel like nobody would really care about him, right? But because it's Bradley Beal and because he's young and exciting, he always gets overdrafted. He always is a coveted player. I think maybe you can use that to your advantage in trying to get rid of him. Like,
sadly, the one league I'm in, it's all really savvy guys. So there's no one's gonna take this bum.
He is a bum. He is kind of a bum. I feel bad. Like, one of the reasons that I think he's injured all the time is because his coach is inept at handling his minutes. He played a string of like 2 weeks where he played 40 minutes a night, and that led to the stress factors. But like, back to our earlier discussion, if you're in a first or second place team in a daily moves league, could you trade Bradley Beal and get back Blake Griffin? And just say, like the team that's looking to move Blake Griffin is a middling playoff team. They're thinking about dropping him anyway.
That's intriguing. I mean,
I think that's the sort of stuff that I would be looking to do with Bradley Beal. Use his name. Like, he's a player that maybe should be close to the waiver wire or is just barely above a waiver wire player, and you can use his name value and try to get something better out of it.
Yeah, I mean, you do. You do the same thing that I told you to do about Tyson Chandler. Like, Tyson Chandler had that 27 rebound game, and I said, if I was Phoenix, you're calling every team after that game. You're sending them tapes, and you're trying to trade him when the value's high. So what I would do with Beal, and Tyson Chandler sucked tonight, got 19 minutes because he's Tyson Chandler and he's no longer a very good basketball player. But what I would do if I have Beal, let him come back. He's going to have a good game at some point. After one good game, then try to unload him. Like, try to get creative. Like you said, try to use his name value and get something for him if you can. Because, I mean, I just don't – you mentioned the stats. Like, people are a little too high on him to begin with, and he's just so injury prone. I mean, I don't know. I don't trust him. I don't trust him to play. Mark, I don't trust him to get back to 30 minutes this year. I really don't.
Yeah, and like, so what if he does? Like, what I'm telling you is his upside is 15 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists.
Right.
Like, who cares?
I want Salah over that.
Yeah. You want a lot of players over that.
Yeah, no, I'm totally with you. Like I'm, in one. I think I'm gonna drop this bum as soon as we're done with this podcast on one of my teams. He's just seeing that name makes me cringe. It's it's too bad for Washington though. Washington could really use him.
This is exactly what I said when it just sort of seems to Bradley Bill's detriment, I guess, that this sort of player isn't that valuable in fantasy. Like this is the same argument I always had when Eric Gordon was really like a coveted player.
Hold on, dear God. So Mark,
no, I mean, think about it. Injuries aside, go ahead.
No. I'm just laughing because so just for our listeners. So Mark sent me a link as we're doing the show of Boban's hand. And
around a different NBA player.
Yeah, and the hand, it can't be human. It's bigger than the other player. I don't even know who the other player is.
Oh, the other player is Ray McCollum.
But that's bigger than Ray. His hand is bigger than Ray McCollum's entire head, easily. Yeah. I mean, it's just wow. I mean, I thought Kawhi Leonard had large hands. Like that's just scary.
It's very big.
Anyway, all right. So yeah.
Anyway, so no, this is the same thing I said with Eric Gordon, right? Because like the player that scores 17 to 18 points, gets 3 rebounds and 2 assists is just not that great of a player. It doesn't matter if they're like a young, high potential player in the NBA until they start doing more in fantasy, until they start getting like 4 and 5 rebounds and assists or doing better in steals or something. That it's just the upside really isn't there. And then when you're dealing with this guy who has a lot of downside, a lot of injury risk, I think I would try to move on from him.
Yeah. It's so it's pretty fascinating. I mean, at least in name value, 2 big name guys, Griffin and Beal. I mean, Beal, I guess, is really not as great as most people think, but still 2 big names. You could easily just drop those bums, tonight. It's a pretty interesting scenario. Mark, stop sending me links. And first of all, so now Mark's sending me a picture of Boban and his wife, and I think I actually tweeted this picture out yesterday.
Oh, nice.
I'm pretty sure I've seen this one. It's horrifying. It's looking at a mutant with a little child. Like Boban should not be allowed to be in a room with anyone else. Like he needs to be caged away somewhere. Oh God.
See, that's what I'm saying. People just eat this stuff up. So I think the best, and I actually was tweeting this out, and I don't say this just because they're our sponsor. Like, I feel like No Halftime is actually the best place to take advantage of if you want to target a single player for a single night. There's no better way to do it than
another guy you can target. Go against Bradley Beal.
Yeah. No, really.
Yeah. I
mean, you could again, like you're just looking at name value. Could you get away with nah, you probably couldn't. I was going to say like Bradley Beal, Dwayne Wade, they're kind of similar players. Dwayne Wade's been playing really well lately.
Yeah, I mean, you could easily get away with something like that. I mean,
that might be a bit of a stretch, but
I don't know, man. Like everyone's down on Wade.
Archie Goodwin?
Yeah, Archie Goodwin's another good one.
Maybe you could get him against Beal.
Yeah, you could definitely get that one against Beal right now. I'm sure a lot of players. Speaking of which, very good segue. Let's jump into some of the box scores tonight. I'm not sure how many we'll get through, but there's a couple that we think we should talk about. The first game is Phoenix at Philly. I'm telling you, like if Philly ended up with a better record than Phoenix end of the year, I would not be surprised. Actually, maybe I'd be a little surprised.
They're a better team rest of season. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
No, I think that's true. Whether they can make up the deficit in games at the start of the season, I'm not sure.
Right. So Philly beat Phoenix 113-103. Brandon Knight was out again for Phoenix. John Lure, my boy from Wisconsin, was out again tonight. Otherwise, the other guy, the rest of the guys, Markieff played tonight, Teletovic played, Warren played. So a very interesting, when you look at the minutes for the starting 5, it was an interesting night. PJ Tucker started, got 32 minutes. Alex Len started, got 33 minutes, and put up a nice fat line at the beautiful stretch 4 spot. 16 points, 12 rebounds, a steal, and 2 blocks. I mean, that, like, I'm telling you, man, I know you haven't been as bullish as I have to play that guy. Maybe are you warming up a little?
I mean, the performance that I'm seeing is not something that I wouldn't like. I think it's expected given the minutes. What's surprising to me is the minutes. Like, I'm really surprised that they played Tyson Chandler 19 minutes and they played Alex Len 34 minutes.
Right. So that was the other big thing. So after Tyson Chandler 27 rebound game, he only got 19 minutes tonight and he got 5 rebounds. That's the Tyson Chandler that I know. So,
like, if you're going to tell me that Alex Len is going to play 35 minutes a game, I think he's a top 50 player.
Right. And
I'm not arguing with you on that part.
The more that I read from Phoenix, like the beat writers and the local media there, the 2 guys that they want to see the rest of the year or actually 3 guys, are if Brandon Knight doesn't come back, is Goodwin, Booker, and Len. Mm-hmm. So, like, and they have nothing to lose. So I expect those, and they're playing in a super fantasy friendly system. So I want all 3 of those guys. If those guys are on any waiver wire right now, I'm going to get them. Like, granted, it might. Especially with Len, probably all 3 of those guys. I wouldn't be surprised if you also have to drop them at some point in the year because God only knows what Phoenix is going to do. But there's a good shot. All 3 of those guys could really help you down the stretch here. I mean, in the second half of the season. I'm
going to have to change my tune on Len, and if it's too late, I apologize. But if the evidence we have right now is that Len's going to get minutes. He's averaging 35 minutes a game over the last week, his last 3 games. If that's going to happen, then he's going to be like a 15 point, 11 rebounds, 1.5 blocks sort of guy. And that's definitely valuable. Can I tell you what I think is the most surprising stat for me from this game is Archie Goodwin obviously had a great game. He scored 26 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. Devin Booker had 7 assists in this game. If the transition to Archie Goodwin being the point guard means that Devin Booker is going to start dishing out assists, and he can add that category, the assist category, to his points and 3-pointers, then he becomes a really dangerous fantasy option.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that. I mean, it's weird. Like when I look at Booker, I don't even look at the assist column.
Yeah, you just look at those 2 columns, right?
Yeah. So that, hey,
this could be a total fluke, but listen, against the Spurs 2 games ago, he had 5 assists. He followed that up with only 1 assist in Atlanta. Then he had 7 assists tonight. If he can average 4 or 5 assists, that's huge.
Yeah. So, are both of us with Goodwin, Booker, and Len? We saying all 3 of those guys should be owned at this point?
I think they probably should be owned. Now, a lot of our listeners aren't going to have 3 spots on their team, right?
Right.
So. And frankly, at least one of these guys, and probably 2 or 3 of them, have been picked up. So maybe that's your answer. And they sort of fit different needs. But let's just say in a vacuum, rest of season, if you had to rank them, how are you ranked? Like, who would you say is going to have the most value?
I mean, I go Archie 1, but again, that's contingent on Knight, kind of shutting it down at some point. Like, it's still unclear what Knight's status is going to be. So Goodwin could be number 1, or he could be number 3, between those 3 guys. But like there's no reason to risk Brandon Knight when you're trying to go in the depths of the lottery and really shoot for a Ben Simmons next year. So you got to think they shut Brandon Knight down, and Archie Goodwin is going to put up stellar stats. So I would go Archie 1. Then it gets interesting for me.
Yeah, it probably is. This one is probably just team need. Like, I don't see one as a higher potential than the other.
Yeah.
I sort of like Booker's real life potential more than Len's, and so I'd probably go that way. But you're either going to need 3-pointers or you're going to need blocks, and then it becomes a very easy decision. But like, just in a vacuum, if you were trying to say who's going to end up higher in fantasy rankings, I'm not sure who I would take.
Yeah, it's close between those guys. And the last guy from Phoenix who no one talks about because he must be one of the least sexy players to watch in the NBA, that's PJ Tucker. Like, he's a guy that I've been streaming now the last 2 weeks because he's getting tons of minutes and he can fill up a stat sheet. Like you mentioned, Booker's 7 assists. PJ Tucker had 8 assists tonight.
He played 5 rebounds, hit a 3-pointer, had 2 steals and a block.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he shot 1 of 8 from the field and only had 7 points, but all the other categories matter too.
Yep. I mean, so he's an interesting guy. Like, I don't quite frankly, I wish they were giving T.J. Warren and Teletovic some more run, even Markieff over P.J. Tucker. But Hornacek loves P.J. Tucker. So as long as that guy's getting minutes, he's on my radar for a streaming option.
Yeah. No, I think that's exactly what he is. He doesn't have the upside of like Len or Booker or
Right.
Anywhere close to what Goodwin has.
Yeah.
But I do think he's another guy just like Ginobili. He's going to finish in the top 100 of the fantasy ranks.
Let me ask you this, Mark.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to have one rest of the season, P.J. Tucker, Bradley Beal.
That's a very interesting question. And I think the fact that it's even a question illustrates exactly what you're trying to say.
Right. As I was asking, I'm like, this is insane. This can't actually be asking this. But yeah. I mean, that would be a legitimate, like, no halftime challenge as well. Right?
Yeah.
It's like, man, how fast Bradley Beal has fallen down. So let's move on to Philly. Now, we should note, Mark, about, what was it, 2 weeks ago now? Maybe, yeah, I think it was about 2 weeks. You came on the show. You told us all that your friend, I forgot his name. Who's the guy? Someone.
Yeah, I'm sure he would not call me a friend, but Haralabob Vulgaris, professional NBA bettor.
Professional NBA bettor comes in, and he went and looked at every three-point shot Robert Covington has taken this year.
And last year.
And Covington, there's been a tweak, and that's why Covington was in the horrible shooting slump, and he was doomed for failure for eternity. Ever since then, Mark, Covington has turned it around. He's shooting, I won't say lights out, but for Covington, lights out. Tonight, another good example, 31 minutes, 19 points, 7 for 15 from the floor, but more importantly, you want Covington for threes, 5 for 12 from three-point land. Didn't get you any steals. You want Covington also for steals, but still another good night for that guy. Have you seen the light now in Covington? Was the professional bettor wrong?
I think I'm going to tweet him just to see if he'll respond. Hey, not to cut you off, Blake Griffin just released a statement.
Oh, what did he say?
A situation among friends escalated, and I regret the way I handled myself towards someone I care about. So, very interesting.
Interesting as a lawyer, like the first thing I think about is that guy is going to make a fortune. Like
really? I think he's going to get fired.
Whoa, Mark. You think the assistant, the person in a superior management position hit a subordinate? That guy's not getting fired.
I don't think he's going to work as the assistant manager again.
Just from a PR and a human resources perspective, you can't fire the subordinate.
I doubt he ever works as the assistant.
Well, I mean, I'm sure they're gonna have to get him a new job or something. Or what's going to happen is he's going to – I mean, I'm not sure how close friends they are, but this guy, if he wanted to, you talk about a civil lawsuit, $1 million, easy. I mean, no-brainer. You can sue the Clippers. You can sue Blake Griffin. Sue everybody.
I want to see Blake Griffin sue him for breaking his hand. Could he sue Blake – could he sue the equipment manager for causing damage to his hand?
No, Blake Griffin has zero case whatsoever here. I mean, no. Just from an HR,
I feel like you get the right lawyer in there. You could sue the equipment manager for having such a hard face that he broke Blake Griffin's hand.
I mean, you could try, and it would get thrown out of court as fast as Bradley Beal gets hurt. I mean,
that's low.
But I do want to know though, is this guy going to end up suing Griffin? If they're great friends, right? You wouldn't sue your friend. But hey, it's a payday. I mean, it's a free payday. Like, they would settle it quick. It's not going to go to court. So that's what I'm intrigued to see. Although it will probably be not disclosed. But I think he's going to walk away with a hefty payday here. So he's probably loving it. Like, that's what I would do, actually. If I had another life, I would secretly become like an assistant equipment manager, and I would, nag a player until he hits me, and then I would sue. I'd clean up. And if we have any young listeners out there, maybe if you aspire to be, you're not good enough to be an NBA talented player, be an equipment manager, pick a fight, and make millions. That's what you do, Mark.
Yeah. Good career move there.
So let's keep going on with Philly. Anything else from the Philly Box score besides Covington.
Yeah, so we thought what's weird is we saw Covington do this earlier in the season where he was basically like a second round value for a good stretch of time that seemed real. And then he went into that slump that we saw. So I'd actually sell high on him if I could.
Would you really?
Yeah.
You don't think he's going to keep this up?
I don't know that he's going to keep it up. I don't feel strong. Like I think there's a good enough, just as a good of a chance that he doesn't keep it up as he does. And I think that scares me enough that I would probably think about moving him. I'm trying to find the stretch of games. It was in the end of November, early December. He was putting up monster numbers. And then he went through a stretch where he scored in double digits one time in about 20 games between middle of December, beginning of January. So that scares me a lot.
I had him on team. I dropped him. I couldn't, and I couldn't trade him, and no one wanted him, and I had to drop him in the league, and now he got swooped up. But if I had him, I would ride him out. I think Tyler, mentioned him in his article on the Daily Fantasy Basketball Podcast website. Mentioned Robert Covington, and Tyler thinks that Covington's going to what he's currently doing is going to continue the rest of the season. And I don't think he's going to be, he is going to be a little bit streaky, but I think he can continue at a rate that's going to be pretty nice. So if you could sell high, go ahead, I guess. But I mean, I'm content on keeping him, quite honestly. If I had him, I don't have him anywhere. I wish I did. For Philly, Mark, I don't know. I mean, by now we know the rest of the players, right? Ish Smith is fantastic. He should be picked up. Nothing else from that.
If your league is so dead that Ish Smith hasn't been picked up yet, then you might want to come join my brother's second chance league.
Yeah. No, I'm dead serious on this one. You could easily do a Ish Smith versus Bradley Beal no halftime.
Done and done. I'd take that.
Yeah, and dominate with Ish Smith. All right, let's move on. Let's do another game. Mark, I'm going to give you an option here.
Okay.
You want to do OKC Knicks, or do you want to do Miami Brooklyn?
I definitely want to do not Brooklyn.
Yeah, it was a stupid option. Let's do OKC Knicks.
Okay.
Fantastic game. Went to overtime. OKC won 128-122. Carmelo did not play this game. It doesn't appear serious. But he's an interesting guy, man. He's got so much wear and tear in that body. We talk about a guy who you'd try to sell high on. I don't want Melo on any of my teams. I don't have him. If I did have him, that's a guy I would try to sell high on. But looking at their players tonight, surprisingly that they took OKC to overtime. They actually should have won. Afalo had a shot at the buzzer, took a horrendous fadeaway shot, typical Aaron Afalo, and went in and out. It went circled 20 times. Oh, it was halfway down, Mark. Heartbreaking for the Knicks. But our boy Porzingis.
Oh my goodness.
15 only played 30 minutes, 15 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks. That's like a
2 3-pointers.
Yeah, that's like a normal game for him. That's like nothing special.
He's amazing. He really truly is amazing.
Yeah, Lance Thomas started for Carmelo, and if you do hear Carmelo is out, the two guys you immediately want to start to target, especially in DFS and to stream in season-long leagues. Lance Thomas, he's had a surprisingly good year, and for whatever reason, Derek Fisher actually likes him. Him and Derek Williams are the two guys. Whenever Melo's out, I immediately look to those guys in DFS, see what their prices are, and I think about them for streaming options as well. And both those guys tonight had really nice nights. I mean, Lance Thomas, he played 40 minutes, had 16 points, 1 3-pointer, only took 7 shots. So one thing about him, he's not very offensive-oriented. Had 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, and 1 block. And he fouled out, so he probably maybe could have got some more minutes. And Derek Williams, I mean, this is what he can do. I mean, when we've seen this on every team he's on. Whenever he gets a chance, he puts up pretty nice line. 36 minutes, 19 points. He's a usage monster. 7 for 15, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, and 1 steal. So both those guys are very intriguing when Melo sits.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything else you want to talk about from that game, from a Knicks perspective?
Langston Galloway had a heck of a game. makes me curious to see how he's been doing the last few games. He had 21 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, 4 3-pointers. Might be the game of the season for Langston Galloway. And just looking at his last few games, he's been hovering around the 20 to 24 minute range. So it'll be interesting to see if this is the start of something good for him or just kind of a blip in the radar.
Yeah, it's a guy. I mean, him and Grant are two guys that I've been waiting all year to get more minutes and praying that Derek Fisher just. I mean, why are you playing Calderon? I mean, man, I thought for sure Westbrook was just going to literally kill Calderon tonight. So thank God that Calderon only got 20 minutes and Galloway got 33. I mean, just for that matchup alone. I mean, who's a least or a less athletic player than Calderon?
Yeah, maybe his old buddy Dirk Nowitzki, but there aren't a lot.
I mean, it's just so that guy's painful. So I mean, you can keep an eye on Galloway. I mean, he does have talent. So, and especially if you can get the Knicks against a fast-paced team, that's when Galloway's going to get some more minutes because I mean, Calderon just doesn't have the foot speed to keep up, in a high-paced game.
Right.
So from OKC side though, there's one guy that I want to talk about,
Okay.
and that's Serge Ibaka. This is another guy. Like I just don't like. I played him in DFS yesterday, or maybe it was 2 nights ago, and man, he's become almost like a Joe Johnson. Like you're like you watch the game, you go, man, was Serge Ibaka out? And then you look at the box score, and he plays 46 minutes, and you're like, dear God, like I didn't notice him at all. He's like irrelevant on the court. Now tonight, he actually put up a decent stat line. He played 46 minutes, 12 points, 17 rebounds, 2 assists, and if you own Ibaka, the stat you want is blocks, and he had 2 blocks tonight. But what's your thoughts on Ibaka for the rest of the year?
And he's another guy like Bill that I've never been very high on, basically since last season, because his block rate has come down so much.
Yeah.
As he moved out toward it doesn't make intuitive sense, right? Like as he moves out on offense, like he's shooting more 3-pointer, so his field goal percentage goes down. I mean, like 5 seasons ago, he was a 55% shooter. Last season, he shot 48%. This season, he's shooting 49%. So that makes sense. Like he shoots more 3-pointers, his field goal percentage goes down. For some reason, it also correlates to his low block totals. Like in 2011, 2012, he blocked 3.7 shots per game. Last season, he was all the way down to 2.4. This season, he's down to 2.2. It just is steadily declining pretty much every season. The rebounds are under 7 per game.
Yeah, the 17th night, that was such a fluke.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like Serge Ibaka's Tyson Chandler 27 rebound game. That will never happen in the rest of the season again.
He's not good at scoring. He gets you 13 points a game, which is really neither good nor bad. The 3-pointers are 0.8. That's neither good nor bad. The rebounds, 7 a game. That's neither good nor bad. He's low assists, low steals. At this point, it's solely for the blocks, and I'm not sure 2.2 blocks is good enough to really carry a player. I'm not saying I would drop him, but I think he's probably like 75th best player in the league, and you probably drafted him in the 2nd or 3rd round, and so it's just a bummer.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely not hitting value on where you drafted him, and also in DFS, stay the hell away. Do not get tempted by him unless that price comes way down. I mean, his price in DFS should be around 5K, maybe 5.4K, 5.5K in my opinion, and it's still hovering in the 6s. So, yeah, Serge has been just disappointing. Although he is on my most handsome starting 5, so he's got that going for him. Super handsome guy. I mean, wow, he's dreamy. Do you want to know the rest of my super handsome starting 5?
Sure, let's hear it.
Oh, you really do? I didn't think you'd say yes. I don't even know who I made that up. But it would definitely be Gordon Hayward. It would definitely be Kyle Korver. It would definitely be Serge. So I got 2 spots left on the most handsome team. Who am I missing?
Porzingis?
Oh, come on. The most handsome?
Boban?
I mean, come on, get serious. This is an important topic. Who else is super handsome?
Is LeBron handsome? I don't have a good sense.
No, LeBron. No, LeBron's not handsome. I mean, LeBron's a good-looking guy, but he's not Serge Ibaka.
I'm surprised that Gordon Hayward made the team.
Oh, he's so dreamy. And now he's got muscles, Mark? Yeah. I'm a big fan of Gordon Hayward. Although God forbid he give me some assists, I still will never like. If I did list like 5 things that are most surprising, and we should do a show on like the things that surprised us the most this year. One is like, why the hell can't he be more of a playmaker? Like they have no point guard and he can't get you assists. I mean, I just don't. I look every day. I look at the box score to see what you know.
You know what I think is happening more. I mean, and he's been improving throughout the season. Is I think they might lead the league in passes per game or per possession. Like I think they just pass. And
So they're trying to like have more of a Golden State type offense and move the ball.
no, it's not that. They play really slow. They have one of the lowest paces in the league. But I think that they have a lot of passes per possession. And so I don't think it's the fact that I think it's just the offensive system that he's in. I think that there's a lot of options for passing. Like, so he might have a good pass and then that leads to another pass, And I just don't think that necessarily shows up in the assists column. So he might be filling the type of role that you're talking about to the degree he can in that offense, but it's not like a traditional one where he's racking up a lot of assists.
I guess that makes sense. Also, for the handsome team, for the 4 spot, maybe John Wall, super handsome guy. I find him very handsome.
I'll have to consult my wife and see if she has any.
Yeah, and D'Angelo Russell, even though he's super young, I also find him pretty handsome.
That's a good thing with handsomeness, isn't it?
To be that young.
Yeah, youth is good.
Yeah, I guess, but like it's he's an 18-year-old. I feel like he doesn't deserve to be on my Hall handsome team yet. You know, he's like you have to build your way up to that. Let's do one more game quickly. Let's do Orlando, Milwaukee. Orlando, they cannot win games right now. Another loss for Orlando at Milwaukee, 100-107. The Bucks win. For Orlando, I mean, Scott Skiles appears to be settling into somewhat of a nice rotation for us.
Don't let him trick you. It's like Charlie Brown in the football.
I know, and then I'm looking at the box score and I'm seeing Tobias Harris only played 23 minutes, and I'm like, and Elfrid Payton only played 24, and I'm like, that's not good. But you know, it's, we mentioned earlier in the show, Aaron Gordon played the most minutes out of anyone tonight, 37. The line wasn't great, 9 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, and 1 3-pointer. Oladipo had a horrendous game a couple days ago, bounced back tonight. 30 minutes, I would have liked a couple more minutes, but 18 points. Only 7 shots, Mark. Got a lot of free throws, 11 free throws, but only 7 shots. 2 3-pointers, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal. Off the bench, a guy who's kind of been forgotten, started off the year super hot. That's Evan Fournier. 25 minutes, 15 points, 5 for 11 from the floor, 4 3-pointers, 2 assists. Anything stick out from you from this box score lineup? Orlando in general, because it's a team all year we've been trying to get our fingers on.
Yeah, and I don't think that we're any closer. I'm disappointed that Peyton only played 24 minutes versus Shabazz Napier's 24 minutes.
I mean, and
that doesn't do fantasy favors for anyone. Fournier, obviously, low minutes. I was excited to see Hazonia play 18 minutes.
I finally got some minutes tonight.
He's a guy that I have a lot of interest in if he ever gets some minutes. But no, I just can't read anything into one game with Skiles.
Yeah, and the more I think about it, I'm kind of settling into the position that you are with Aaron Gordon. Like, I think he's got talent, but I'm just not sure what the upside truly is. So, I think.
And again, I want to be clear. Like, I have to separate how I feel about him as an NBA player versus how I feel about his fantasy prospects, because I think he could still be a very good NBA player. I'm just not excited about what he brings to the fantasy wise.
All right, let's move on to the Bucks side, my friend. Giannis. First of all, there was at some point, I think it was in like the third quarter, he had 7 dunks. Then we had to start doing the show, so I'm not really sure how many dunks he had, but that's pretty amazing. I wonder what the record is for number of dunks in a game. But Giannis had a fantastic night. The only guy, for the Bucks, we've kind of figured out who they are for the most part. Even though I think it was Jason Kidd's first or second game back now for the bench. Real quickly though, I want to get your thoughts on Jabari Parker.
Okay.
I know you weren't a big fan earlier in the year. I don't think we've talked about him in a month or so. Mm-hmm. He's been getting a lot of minutes. 33 minutes tonight, 15 points, only 8 shots, but 6 of 8 from the floor, 7 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 block. Do you have any interest, with Jabari?
I don't really. I mean, obviously, if he's going to play 36 minutes a game, which he has over the last basically 2 weeks, the last 7 games, he's played, I guess it's 35 minutes a game. But, 13.6 rebounds, 2 assists, less than a steal, less than a block per game, no 3-pointers. Like, that feels a lot like Serge Ibaka's line if he didn't block shots. And
Which would basically render Serge.
yeah, and he's just not a very fantasy-friendly player yet. And so until he starts to score closer to 20 points a game, which I do think is in his potential, I don't think that's this season. But if he again, last 7 games, 35 minutes a game, 13 points a game. Points is going to have to be one of his best categories. He's not there yet. I'm not waiting around for it. I don't think it happens this season as he recovers from the ACL tear.
Yeah, the minutes have been surprising for me though. Like I didn't think that he'd be getting consistently this many minutes, but yeah, the numbers are probably are making probably only a streaming option only for me. Although I know he's been picked up in a lot of leagues recently, and DFS he's become a sneaky play in DFS lately as well with those minutes. All right, man. That is the Wednesday show, the Hump Day show. We'll be back on Friday. Mark, anything you wanna let our viewers, listeners know?
No, hopefully you enjoy some basketball between now and Friday's show.
So how do you want again the listeners to let you know about if they want to be in our new?
I'll tweet out the link because I know I garbled what the email address is, but you can find the email address on our website. I'll tweet it out, or you can just tweet me. Preference will be given to whoever has the most compelling reason to
second chance in life.
Yeah,
a second chance in life.
Second chance for your fantasy team.
So basically, so what you mean by that though is like, so, say I drafted Blake Griffin, and so I deserve a second chance, something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or like I missed my auction because my wife went into labor.
Oh,
that would be an excellent reason, right?
That would be a very good reason. Actually, I don't know, man, because like labor takes a long time. You can do the draft, mobily, But yeah, no, I'm not kidding. I'm kidding. That would be a great reason. What better reason could there be than that?
Yeah.
So yeah, so it'd be fun though if you could join the league with us. You can compete with me and Mark's whole family. Anyways, so you can find me on Twitter at Daniel A Green 1, and you can find Mark on Twitter at.
You can find me at Mark F Roberts. That's Mark with a C, just like Marc Gasol.
You haven't said that in a long time, man.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So hope you enjoyed the show, and we will see you back on Friday.